Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday morning here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go up to our friends over in Queensland again. Of course, we head to the Sapphire Series Netball. And of course, we've been to one of the Carina Leagues Club Tigers netball players. And of course, her name's Amy. She joins us right now from Brisbane. Thanks, Amy, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Well, tell us a bit about the season and how did it all pan out?
Yeah, so I think the season was obviously a strange one for a lot of people everywhere. And I think at the end of the day, we were very lucky that we did get on court. I was in the Sapphire team. We probably didn't have the most successful year that we'd hoped for. So I think we only ended up with one win at the end of the day. But I think we really learned a lot from the season, and I think we can take a lot moving into next year.
You mentioned that, of course, you only won the one game throughout the season or the series. I guess tell us a bit about the one win in particular, but also, I guess, is this team a fairly young team?
Yeah, so the one win we had was against Bull Sharks, so they finished just ahead of us on the ladder. I think in that win, we probably were very confident in ourselves. And I think we probably struggled to find that within every game for this season, because we were quite a young team. We were quite inexperienced. So we only had 4 remaining girls from the team last year and quite a few newbies and some girls coming up from the Ruby team, which was great to have those girls because they obviously won last year. So it was nice to have those girls and have their experience of what it was like to win a championship. But I think for us, it is learning about that intensity, taking it up that next level and really trying to, smash it again for next year.
I'm assuming, have you sort of got into pre-season yet or close to it?
We're very close. It feels like the season's kind of mushed into one, but we start up next year. So 3 weeks away, I think we start, is our first strength session. So, yeah.
How exciting is to get back into it after, I think you only played, 2 months ago?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but I think we're all athletes, we're all netballers, and that's our downtime. That's the time where we enjoy and we get to hang out with our friends, and that's the stuff we love to do. So I think we're all itching to get back out there. So it'll be exciting. We've got a nice lead up this year for next year, so it'll be good.
Tell us a bit about your team in particular, and especially a couple of players in your team we should watch out for going into 2021 without giving too much away.
Yeah, I think I'll go from who was in this year, and I'm hoping that they're there next year. But I think we've got some really great young'uns coming through. So we've got Alice Morga, who's one of our mid-court. She was in the Ruby team last year and stepped up to Sapphire this year. And each week she's just very consistent. She goes for everything, and you know what you're going to get from her. So she's definitely one to look out for. And another one would be, let's see, I'm trying to see, not give too much away for next year, but I think hopefully we've got Shelley Rosanoff, who's she's a Tigers through and through. So she's one of our defenders. So yeah, she's an absolute workhorse. So she's definitely one to look out for as well.
Of course, I actually asked Tash this question. Obviously, she's in the Ruby team, but I'm going to ask you the same question I asked her about her team. Now, if you can remember all your players that you had last year, this year, from position-wise all the way through, I guess how important each of the players were.
Yeah, so we had kind of a weird year. We had a couple of people pulling in and out. So one was for pregnancies. So we didn't finish the season with our original 10, but I think it was really great to see all the depth we had. So we got Emily Gage, who's our other shooter. So she's one of our little pocket rockets. She's quite small for a shooter, but she can beat the defenders. So we'd like a little dodge, and she can shoot from anywhere. We had Riley Batcheldor, who is an up-and-coming young shooter. So she had her first game back with us after an ACL injury. And yeah, she's a weapon. She's definitely one to look out for moving forward. We had some of our oldies. So I was one of the oldies. There's Alana Schuster, Claire Haig. So we're the old ducks in the team. Then we had Hayley Mulheron. So she was one of our Scottish internationals. So it was great to have her experience to draw on throughout the season as well, even though sometimes we did struggle to understand her, but she was definitely great to have around. And then we had Lily Gribble. We have some really great people who are coming through, and we are at Tigers. We are really proud to have a strong Tigers family, and everyone wants to be a part of Tigers, and we do support our juniors coming through. And our last one we would have had was Harriet Adset. So she came up from the Ruby team as while we had our pregnancy, people dropping in and out. So she was a great asset to the team, and she's very fast. So you probably didn't see her on the court because she's too quick. But yeah, she was a great asset to the team as well.
Tell us a bit about your coaching staff there at the Tigers.
Yeah, so we have Erin Burns, who's our head coach, and Megan Snell, who is our assistant coach. So they came up from last year with the Ruby team, so they're Ruby winning champions. It was my first year with both of them, so I've really learned a lot. They let me look at my game in a different way, which is kind of nice since I have been playing for a very long time. Erin's very straight to the point, you know what you're going to get, and I really do like that. There's no beating around the bush, so you're not constantly thinking like, oh, what is she thinking about me? And Megan's very much the same. She's very passionate, she's loyal, and you know that if you're doing something wrong, she will tell you. And I think that's really important for athletes moving forward.
Now, you mentioned quite a lot about the Ruby series team. Of course, they went back-to-back this year. Of course, I think it would have been just about, or almost about a month ago now, since that grand final. I guess how special is that Ruby series netball team? Because obviously they've gone back to back in a tough year. I think they had to do it the long way to get there again this year, of course, coming from fourth. Tell us a bit about, I guess, the whole amazing team there at the Ruby series team, which obviously you've had a chance to train with them throughout the year. Yeah,
I think whenever you can make the finals is hard as it is, but to be able to go back to back is really special. And I think it's just a true testament to the girls and them sticking together through it all. So I know they did have a few challenges through the year, and I think that they're the kind of things that bring teams together. So for us as Sapphire, we were able to look at them and be like, yeah, what are they nailing? What can we try and learn from them? Even though we might have been the top team, we can still learn from those girls. And I think training against them, playing them week in, week out, you know, why they were the eventual champions. They absolutely pushed us every week. And I think that's just a true testament to the girls plus the Tigers culture about how successful we are as a club. And I think now we've just got to try and work out how we can get that success going through all the way up to Sapphire. So that's the next step.
I'm assuming the team went out to watch them play in the grand final at Nissan Arena on grand final day. I guess, how special was it and how nerve-wracking was it to watch them play?
Yeah, sometimes it's harder to watch them play because you can't actually physically do anything about it. But I think most of the Sapphire girls do claim that we won it for them. It was our cheering on the sideline for every final game. So I think that, I think we're secretly like, we did that for them. We got them over the line, even though we had nothing to do with it. But we like to think our cheers really helped them. So yeah, it was very nice to see them go out there. And whenever you can see your friends, your teammates being successful, I think that's really exciting.
Now, I have to ask, and I asked this question to Tash, obviously she was there playing, but for you and your team watching it, when did it get to a point that you were comfortable enough that the Ruby series netball team was going to win the grand final? Was there a particular point in the game?
I think for me, it was probably kind of that half time. The girls looked really calm in what they were doing. They looked in control. It didn't look like they were stressed or nervous or anything. So I think once you see that, you know that they're going to nail it. And they had a pretty decent score margin. So all they really had to do was just score their own. And once, I know grand finals can change like instantly, but I think knowing the girls in the team and knowing what they look like and what you can kind of tell their emotions, I think that's when I was like, yeah, they've got this. And because they had us on the sideline, that's when I knew.
Now, tell us a bit about, I think, their grand final MVP, which... Riley, that's it?
Yeah,
I've got to remember that for later on. But tell us a bit about Riley's game, watching her play, and obviously having a chance to train with her.
Yeah, so I think Riley's definitely one of those up and coming. So she's in Aussie underage squads. So whenever you've got people like that who do have experience at nationals and Australian level, you know that they're going to step out there and perform. So she ruptured her ACL last year and she was allowed to come back and play with us this year. She played a little bit in both Sapphire and Ruby, but when you look at her, she's very tall, she's strong, and you know that she's going to pull in every ball. And she's one of those shooters that can just turn and shoot from anywhere. It doesn't matter if she's under the post, she can be shooting just inside the circle. And I think that's a really strong point of hers. And she's a weapon, basically. You know, if you've got her on your team, you're going to be doing all right. So I think, yeah, she's a really exciting player. She's, definitely one to watch.
How exciting was it when the final whistle went and obviously they won the grand final?
Yeah, it was great. I think in some ways you kind of live that win through them, because you know, and you see how hard they've trained and worked over the past 8 or 10 weeks or whatever it was that they had to get there. And they did have a weird draw, like Sunday games, Tuesday games. And I think it's just exciting to see them finally get to that final hurdle and be successful and nail it. And I think, you just kind of live vicariously through them, and hopefully that one day you can be there cheering with them as well.
Now, did you get the chance to sort of celebrate it with them?
No, not too much. We kind of let them have their own team kind of celebration, but we did send messages, did all that kind of fun stuff. But a few of us always go down to Carina League's club, and I know they did go back there after. So I'm not sure if they had chicken palmies, but I think that might have been one of their celebrations that they got from the Carina League's club. And Carina League's club are such great sponsors, and we honestly couldn't do the season without them. So chicken palmies is, it's a great little present from them.
Now let's talk a bit about your netball journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it, Amy?
Yeah, so I grew up in Sydney playing. So I went through kind of the pathways, and I pretty much only played because my sister and mum were around there. So I was always down at the netball courts, eating red frogs, climbing trees. So I finally got into it and then moved up the pathways. So I played for Eastwood Ride Netball down in Sydney. So that's where I kind of grew up playing for all my juniors. And then I was lucky enough to represent New South Wales in the 17s, 19s, 21s and through A&L competitions. So I did that. I think they competed at 7 nationals. So that was pretty exciting. And that was back when you could play both 19s and 21s. So I was very lucky to be able to do that, win a couple of nationals and captain a few of them as well. I then ruptured my ACL in, I think, 2012 now. It feels like forever ago, but I ruptured my ACL. So that took a little bit of a dent in my career. So that was really hard to kind of come back from. But I was very lucky that in 2016, I was contracted to the New South Wales Swifts. So that was pretty cool. I was very grateful for that. And I think still remembering that grand final that I got to be a part of against the Queensland Firebirds, where it went into double over extra time. So that was insane. But I think that was one of the most stressful moments of my netball career, because you're just watching on like, oh my gosh, you can't really do anything about it. You're trying to support the team. But it was one of the greatest experiences. I'm very grateful to be able to do that. I played for New South Wales in 2017 as well. So I did another year down there, and then finally moved up to Brisbane 2018, where I was training partner for Firebirds. So I did 2 years with the Firebirds, and I played for them 2019. I got on court for a couple of games, which is pretty cool. And I think whenever I do step out on court for any of those teams, I'm always very grateful. And then, now I'm at Tigers, so captaining the Sapphire team. So I was very lucky to be able to join the Tigers as well. So I did start off at another club. Probably now I'm very lucky that I did move over, and kind of wishing I did move to Tigers that 1 year earlier. But loving Tigers and just being able to play and being the old girl in the team, hopefully bringing some of the young ones through.
So the question I want to ask you then, Amy, considering you've played most of your rep netball and obviously at the highest level down there in New South Wales, now you're in Queensland.
Yeah.
Do you have a bit of alliance on which state you like the most?
I'm still very much New South Wales for origin, but I think I only claim that if we win. So if we lose, I don't really talk about it. You'd be very silent.
All right. Well, in that case, we won't talk about what happened this year then.
Yeah, no.
Now you mentioned that you were captain of course, your rep teams down in New South Wales, but also been the captain of the Sapphire team there at the Tigers. What does that mean to you to be captain, not just in with the Tigers, but in multiple teams, especially down there in New South Wales?
Yeah, I think it's very kind of, I don't know, it's really hard to explain because most of the time it is kind of voted for you from your peers. And when you are voted in as captain from your peers, it is probably that little bit more special. I think most of the time I never really saw myself as a captain. I was kind of the quiet one. I kind of just went about my business. So I think, yeah, very honoured to be able to captain any team. And I think I do my best to be able to try and drive certain things forward, whether that's culture, and I'm still learning a lot about that. Yeah, so I think with the captaining any kind of team, you do try and bring as many people forward as you can and learn and grow and try and drive certain cultures forward. And I think, yeah, it's really great honour. And I know at Tigers it was big shoes to kind of fill. We had Katie Walker, who's been the captain there for many years, and I'm still really good friends with Katie Walker, and I try and learn as much as I can from her. And she's been a great role model for every athlete, and she still is. So there is a medal named after Katie Walker in the Sapphire Series. So it's the Katie Walker medal that you get as the MVP. So she is a really great role model, and I've learned a lot from her, trying to take things away from her as I can when I am a captain.
Now, you mentioned that you played with the Swifts and obviously with the Firebirds. The question I want to ask is, how special is that to play for two fantastic SNN clubs? And also, is there a particular play in both teams that you played alongside with that you look up to?
Yeah, I think probably a lot of players in my first year in Swifts. We were very lucky to have quite a star-studded team. So we had players like Laura Langman, Shani Layton, Kim Green, Susan Pettit, Katie Thwaites. Like, we had all of these amazing players. And I think even just stepping into a team or stepping into the same room as them, I was always very starstruck, and I kind of still am whenever I see them around. So you can learn a lot from any of those players in just how they carry themselves. And I think for the Firebirds, I grew up playing with Gabby Simpson, so we went through all underage stuff together through New South Wales. So that was nice to kind of reunite with her, and we're still very good friends. So it was good to get back playing with Gabs, and she's a weapon on court. So it was nice to have her on my team for a little bit again.
Now, talking about Gabby, obviously she's the captain there at the Firebirds at the moment, and hopefully she stays the captain of the team for a long time to come.
Yeah.
I guess how good is to see her, rising through the ranks with you, and now obviously I'm assuming achieving her ultimate goal in being the captain of the Firebirds, being in the Diamonds team. I guess, what does that mean to you to see her grow throughout her time in netball?
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. And I think growing up and playing with her, you knew that she was going to make it. She was always one of those players that you were like, yeah, she's going to be a diamond one day. And I think that the fact that I still get to be really good friends with her is really awesome. And I kind of lived through her achievements and some of her challenges as well. So I think you feel everything that your good friends feel. So yeah, I love being able to play with her. I love seeing her succeed, and hopefully she stays captain for a very long time. Hopefully she never retires. That's what I keep telling her.
No, we definitely share the same arguments there as well. I guess now, playing for both teams, do you have a preference of who you support when you go and see the Firebirds Swift play in Brizzy?
I think when I was a part of the Firebirds, obviously I was going for Firebirds no matter what. And I think I do have friends in both Swifts and Firebirds. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, just hope my friends play well and they succeed. So at the end of the day, someone has to win. But as long as my friends do well, that's all that matters.
Fair enough. And you must tell us, do you stay in contact with any of those friends in both teams that are currently playing in the Suncorp Super Netball? And you must tell us who they are.
Yeah, so I'm still quite good friends with Lauren Moore, who's down in the Swifts. So yeah, her and I were very close. So we were both in 2016. We were both our first years in. So we kind of really bonded over that. And I think she's a bit crazy and silly, and I'm kind of the opposite. So we balanced each other out nicely. So yeah, I'm still really good friends with her. And Paige Hadley, I grew up playing with her as well in Sydney. So we started primary school sport together. So we both represented the Sydney West team down there together. So, and both benchies. So it's nice to be able to see her succeed and move on to Swifts and Diamonds. So still definitely close with a lot of the girls.
Now, what does the sport of netball mean to you, and especially being there at the Carina Leeds Club Tigers?
Yeah. I think netball and sport is just kind of that way to you make connections and lifelong friends. And I think that's really important, especially obviously during COVID, a lot of like teams and players couldn't have that connection and that kind of face-to-face connection. I know down in Melbourne, I don't even think they were able to play their season. So I think having this year, you did learn about why you love the sport so much and what it actually gives to you as a player and as a person. And I think netball can teach you a lot of kind of outside lessons. So it teaches you resilience, like coming back from injuries, missed selections, and all those kind of little things that you probably in the moment you think, oh my gosh, my career's over. This is all done. Like I can't ever succeed again in netball. So it does teach you a lot of those things. And when you get setbacks in life. So I do take a lot of those life lessons from sport as well. But one of the most important things is just those friendships and having that human connection. I think that's, one of the main things why I love netball.
Now, of course, I have to ask, what position you play on the court? And if you have a preferred position, we love to convince your coaches next year to put you, whether that be.
So I am a goal shooter, goal attack. It just depends where I'm needed and probably my fitness levels. But I have mentioned to Erin that I do play wing attack. I have played it before, but I think that would be a really bad thing for the team if I went to wing attack. So but I would love to be a wing attack. That would be fun one day if I ever wanted to move out there and got a lot faster and a lot fitter. So that's definitely something that I'd like to look at.
So my next question I'm going to ask is, considering what you've already achieved, you played at the highest level in regards to, the league-wise in netball, especially now, obviously, with the ANZ Championship / Super Suncourt Super Netball. Is there any other future ambitions in the sport of netball that you want to achieve?
Yeah, I think for me, my goals for next year is to kind of just have a really consistent year. And I think once you do have consistent year, that's when kind of achievements come from that. So it is just focusing on week in, week out, those little things that I can do to be better. And whether that is making myself better to help the team, whether that's making myself better to help that one person make it that next level. So no matter what my role is within the netball or within a team, I'll really work hard at that. But I am currently undertaking my advanced coaching accreditation. So I would probably like to get into some more coaching kind of work, working with state teams and maybe one day a bit more SSN stuff, but that's probably down the track, a future Amy problem. And if I wanted to move into that direction, but just for now, just finishing off my advanced coaching and working with hopefully getting into some state team programs with that.
What would be your advice to our listeners and viewers in Queensland that should get involved with the Tigers?
For me, I know that Tigers is such a family kind of culture. They really support every single person that comes through their pathway, whether that's starting from down at Metro or Redlands in those little kind of little girls playing netter. So I think it's just a great really environment to be a part of. And if you want your daughter, your son, like it's not just a female sport now, so males can play. And I think that's really exciting that we are going into that direction and trying to give the males more opportunities within our sport, because they are absolutely so hard to play against and we can learn a lot from them as well. So I think just getting involved in Tigers, come down and watch us whenever you can. We do start playing again. I think it's April 27th, maybe. It's in April next year. So come along, watch us, support us. And I think, do whatever you can. If you can come down to Tigers clinics, come say hello to us. We love seeing all of our fans. We hopefully try and have a really great impact on our community, because without those young ones, without Metro, without Redlands, we can't be Tigers. So we need those young ones coming through and absolutely loving netball.
Now let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates.
Okay.
Now tell us, who had the most embarrassing moments on the court this season, and what was it?
Okay, so I'm going to say there's probably two people who had that. So one was Shelley Rosanoff. She kind of went for a ball and got pushed off the side and slid along the carpet and had really bad carpet burn. Or Alice Morga did fall basically face first into the ground as well. So there'll probably be more embarrassing moments. They're the two kind of class clowns of the team. So whenever something funny or embarrassing happens, it has something to do with one of those two. So yeah.
I think you pretty much answered my next question. Who's the comedian in the team?
Oh, Alice Morgan would be a comedian, and Shelley kind of works off her, so they're a great little team. They go together.
Now I know there's this social media thing called TikTok. So the question I want to ask you is, who's the best singer and dancer on the team?
Best singer and dancer. I feel like I'm too old to knowing everything about TikTok, but I do have it because it does become quite a weird. You can sit there for ages scrolling through it. But the best. If I don't say Alice, she will message me and basically abuse me. So I'll have to say Alice just to keep her happy. But I feel like Claire Haig and Alana Schuster they'll have really great moves on the dance floor.
Now, I'm hoping she doesn't pop up in this next question then. Now, you mentioned about, comedians and all that. Is there any players on the team that are just plainly forgetful?
Oh, forgetful. I think Lily Gribble, one of our young ones, she seems quite kind of just spacey sometimes, so she's probably more the forgetful one, but she is very funny. She's very smart, and she's probably one of our more forgetful ones. But I think Alice is probably one of the ones that pops up every time. She's a bit of everything. Shelley is kind of like her mum within the team. Alice won't get places if Shelley doesn't take her, so she's probably the other forgetful one, Alice.
Oh, she's gonna love this interview. She's great. She's quite emotional.
She would say all publicity is good publicity. I can see her saying that.
I've got to finish off this last two, which is, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
No, probably not. I'm very much go with the flow, but the only thing I would have to do is just get to the post and put up some shots. That'd be the only thing that I'd have to get done no matter what.
And we'll finish off with this one last one. And look, I think you pretty much mentioned it a couple of questions ago anyway. I guess, how important have the sponsors been to the Tigers, especially in this COVID year? And did you have a player sponsor yourself?
So I think obviously Carina Lee's club is one of our major sponsors, and for them, they obviously had to shut down for quite a period of time throughout it because they weren't allowed to have guests and all those people coming through. But for them to keep backing women's sport and netball and be one of our sponsors, I feel like it's been over 10 years that they've been our major sponsor. We are very grateful, and we do as much as we can by going down and having chicken palmies, burgers whenever we can. Maybe that was why we came last, but no, we are very grateful that we do have them as a sponsor. They're always there. They come to every game, Wade, Stuart, and I feel like you don't really get that with a lot of other sponsors, knowing that they are passionate and actually care about what you do as people. And my personal player sponsor, I was a Mizuno sports ambassador, so I was a ambassador for their shoes, and very comfy shoes, and I'm looking forward to be able to work with them again moving forward.
Well, Amy, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome having you on the show, especially reasonably early over there in Queensland to do the interview. We can't wait to come up to Queensland once, obviously, the Sapphire Series resumes in 2021, and hopefully get to come and watch the Mighty Tigers up there hopefully from April onwards.
Yes, we would love to have you up there, and we will take you to the Leagues Club for a palming. So hopefully you guys can come up very soon. That's okay. Thank you.
No worries. And that's Amy Somerville there, joins from the Carina Leagues Club Tigers netball team. Of course, if you want to support the Mighty Tigers in 2021, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can go about getting involved down there with the Tigers. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Friday edition. Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a Friday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's continue with the Carina Leagues Club Tigers netball team. And of course, we had, of course, the Sapphire Series play in Amy a moment ago. And, of course, early in the week, we had, of course, this particular player's teammate in Tasha early in the week. Of course, now we turn our attention to, of course, Tasha's teammate, because and of course, that is Maddie there. Of course, she joins us now from Brisbane. Thanks, Maddie, for joining us.
Hi, well, thank you so much for having me.
No worries. Well, tell us, firstly, the amazing season there for the Ruby series.
Yeah, look, I think it was a bit of a crazy sort of season, just because of everything that COVID brought along with it. It was very unconventional in the way that we're used to having a pre-season and then the season run. So I think all things considered, we were super happy with how it turned out. So we obviously had like a much shorter pre-season than we used to. I think we ended up having 6 weeks from when we got the green light for competition to go ahead. From then to game one, it was really quick turnaround. So we had to get straight out onto court and sort of really get started on like actual court stuff rather than the fitness and the strength-based stuff that we would usually start with. But once we all sort of came together and hit the court, our team just really gelled so well. Like, we really made it work. We clicked. We didn't have any of the problems with like timings or clashes with positions and combinations and stuff that you'd expect with such a short preseason. So, and then we ended up taking away the premiership. So I guess you can't really be too upset with that. So yeah.
Of course, the team went into this season as defending champions from last year in 2019. And obviously you backed that up to win it all this year. How tough was it to, try to defend that premiership that you won the year before?
Look, I think coming in with that defending champion title on our backs, it did put a massive target on our backs. We were the team to beat from day one, and we had such a different team from this year to last year. I think there might have been 4 or 5 of us who were in the team last year and again this year. So we had such different combinations, such different people, and who all brought different like strengths and weaknesses to that team. So I think we knew coming into the season that it was going to be tough and that people were going to be out to get us from day one, but we didn't really let it faze us and just keep doing our thing, and it seemed to work really well for us. So
now, as all true champions teams do, of course, you had to do it the long way to get there. You had to come from 4th position on the ladder to get there, firstly. You had to play every single elimination game possible to get there. How was it like? I think, didn't you just play like 3 games in a week?
Yeah, we did. So I think because of COVID, it was already a really condensed season. Like, we had a couple of Tuesday games throughout the season. And then we actually had a double header one weekend. So we ended up playing Saturday and Sunday. So like all throughout the season, it was very condensed and very put together very hard so that we would get those games over and done with. But yeah, I think we had a Saturday game, a Tuesday game, and then the grand final again on that next Saturday. So, and then in between that, I think we actually trained on Wednesday and Thursday. So it was really, that week was just left room for nothing else. And it was all about netball, I guess, for that entire week. But it was, it ended up really well for us. So.
Did that give you a bit of an advantage when you played the Cougars in the grand final, in that, they had to have a whole week off pretty much, I guess, from the Saturday to the Saturday, while you just had to play an extra game, and it was an elimination game on the Tuesday?
I think you can look at it both ways. I mean, for them, they did get a week off. They could, rest their bodies a little bit and prepare and sort of really focus in on how they were going to tackle their grand final, things like that. But we also got to come off such a high. Like, we had such a good win on the Saturday in our prelim against Bull Sharks, and then another really good win on the Tuesday against Jets. So we were sort of just building, and that momentum, I think, really helped us. We were coming off a high and coming off 2 like back-to-back wins, like really good games. So we sort of, while we had the fatigue and the added pressure and the added stress of an extra game, we also, we were able to use that to our advantage to sort of give us a little bit more of that push that we'd needed in the grand final.
How important were the Sapphire Series team to your success in that grand final?
Oh, those girls are amazing. We've had that mentality all season, is that, yeah, while we're two teams and COVID's meant that we've had to sort of separate ourselves a little bit, we've always been one club. I know the last probably 2 weeks before grand final, we had 3 or 4 of those older girls in the Sapphire team come into our training sessions on a Tuesday and a Thursday and act as almost like secondary coaches and a bit of mentoring and support and just offering us different strategies and different ideas on how we could approach certain things. So that was amazing and stuff that they really didn't have to do as soon as their season had already finished. And then just the support on the sidelines. Our semi-final, or whichever one it was, against Bull Sharks, the Bull Sharks tactic is to be really loud and really intimidating from the sideline, which up until the final series had really knocked us around. We just didn't really know how to like respond to all that noise. So we got our Sapphire girls in, we gave them like the clappers and pretty much told them to go here and just make as much noise as they can. And they were absolutely amazing. They stuck with us through the entire finals campaign. So most of them were there on the Saturday, Tuesday, and the extra Saturday. So I have, can't thank them enough and can't praise them any higher than
Was there a particular point in the grand final that you got the chance to sort of, get to enjoy the moment, knowing that you're sort of on your way to a back-to-back premiership?
About the last 6 or 7 minutes, I reckon. Up until then, it was amazingly tight. Like, I'm pretty sure we were actually down in the first quarter, and then up until probably the end of the third quarter, we were going goal for goal. And, when we started to pull a bit of a lead away in the dying minutes of the third quarter, we would be up by 2, or then we'd be up by 3 and then back to 2. So you just knew that if you let your concentration slip, or you started to, prematurely win the game, I guess, and really decide that you've already won it, it was not going to end the way that we wanted it to. So we really just had to keep going and keep working. But I think with about, probably 6 or 7 minutes to go, we were up by 7. And I think at that point, we were all sort of like breathing a sigh of relief almost, and just very like, okay, we've got 6 or 7 minutes left of this crazy 2020 season. And I think, the back-to-back premiership was definitely in sights for those last couple of minutes.
Now, I have to ask, have you got a chance to watch back the grand final since?
I have. I actually watched it that night. So we planned on going out. So our sponsors took us out for an amazing dinner. We got to, spend a dinner with all of our teammates and our coaching staff and everybody who's, helped us like that. And then us girls had planned on going out. We were going to hit up the city in Brisbane, but we all decided we were a little bit tired, so we went home. Not exactly the grand final celebrations that many would expect. I actually went home that night and put on the game and sat in my bed and just watched the game back. And proud of it, not going to lie, it was good fun.
Now, I can see you got your premiership medal around your neck, which I'll get you to show to our viewers now.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
That one. Yeah.
So the question I want to ask you, Maddie, is how long did you wear your medal around your neck for, and did you sleep with it?
I didn't sleep with it, no. I was actually a little bit paranoid I would break it, to be honest, because if I slept in it, I was like, surely it's going to rip or something. So no, we did wear it through the whole dinner. So while we were there with our sponsors and our teammates, our entire team had them on, and plan was to wear them out. But like I said before, we all chickened out with that one. So went straight home. We're not party animals, Will.
Now, when I interviewed Tash about a couple of days ago now, she mentioned that the presentation of the trophy in that, you had to wait for 2 hours because of the Sapphire Series grand final. I guess, did you end up watching the Sapphire Series grand final or what did you end up doing for the 2 hours to finally get what you'd already achieved after you won it 2 hours before?
Yeah, it was a bit of we didn't really know what to do at that time, but we had our celebrations and we got to chat to our coaches, and we had such an amazing crowd. Like, Sapphire girls aside, there were so many friends and family and girls from our districts. So our districts are Metropolitan Districts Netball and Redlands Netball Association. So we had so many girls from there come out to support us and watch the game. So we were able to go and sort of interact with them a little bit, say hello to the friends and family who came. But then, it left us with still probably about an hour to go. So we all just sat down and had a bit of a chat. We watched the Sapphire Series final. Not really anything too interesting, just waiting for our turn, I guess.
Now, I have to ask, being co-captain with Lily, who we're going to hopefully have her on the show a bit later on, and hopefully between now and Christmas, who got to hold the shield?
So technically speaking, Lily's captain and I was vice. So Lil did a really great speech when we'd finished and thanked all of our sponsors and the opposition and our coaching staff and everything like that. But it wasn't heavy, but it was kind of awkward to hold by yourself. So the two of us got to hold up the shield, nice circular big trophy thing, I guess. So that was a really great feeling to hold that shield up high when we know how hard we had worked to get to where we were. So that was really amazing.
I guess, how good was it to hold that shield for the second time?
Well, it was great. So I didn't actually get to hold it up last year. I wasn't one of the captains. So it was a bit of a milestone to be able to sort of stand up the front and show what our team had been able to pull together from leading from the front. So that was a really amazing feeling. And just almost a sigh of relief as well. Like we said, we'd had the target on our backs from day one. We had a really tough season. We had a bit of a lull in the centre where we lost a couple of games that we felt like we should have pulled through and won. So I just think like you said, we definitely took the hard road there this year. So it was a really amazing feeling to just be able to sort of have something to show for the last crazy 12 months.
I know you're not supposed to do this during COVID, but did either you or Lily or any of your teammates, had a little cheeky kiss of the shield?
Don't even think I did. I didn't. I didn't see anybody else. So no, I'm going to say. Bit of a disappointing answer for you. But yeah, I feel like if anyone would have, it probably would have been Cooley, who's one of our other defenders. But yeah, no. Yeah, next time. We can do that next year.
Yeah. Now, let's turn our attention to your team itself. Now, I asked Tash this question as well, which I'll get you to answer the same question, which is, if you can remember all your players on your team, that premiership team, you must tell us how special they were in your team, and you can start from the goals end or the defending end.
Well, I'm a defender, so I'm going to start with my little defensive end. I absolutely love my entire team, and I cannot speak highly enough of them. I actually watched Tash's interview back, and I'm pretty sure the person she missed was me. So I'll make sure I don't miss anybody, Tash. Although she did give me a rap a little bit earlier on when she was talking about captains, me and Lil. So I will forgive her for that one. So my defense end, me, obviously. Then we've got Madison Cooley, who is just absolute gold. I love her to bits. She is the most enthusiastic person I have ever met. She's absolutely crazy, 100% the team comedian. When she's on the bench, I don't think she sits down at all. She's always on her feet, cheering us, doing whatever she can for our team from the sideline or the court. she's just an absolute weapon. Then we've got our sisters. So we've got our child sisters, Lynette and Rihanna. They are just incredible for girls as young as they are. Lynette's just finished grade 12 and Rihanna is going into grade 12, and they are just incredible. You know, their groundwork and their footwork makes me quite jealous, not gonna lie to you. They are absolutely amazing. They can cover all three of the defensive positions, and they never fail to turn over the ball when we need it. It's one of those moments we need a turnover, and I'm sure one of the two children will get it for us. So very reliable defenders. Moving into our mid-court, we've got, Maya. So Maya is just a weapon. She was originally a circle defender, I believe, and has sort of moved more into the wing defense center sort of role. And Maya will just play whatever you give her, and she will give it 100%. We put her in wing attack a couple of times, which isn't her position, and she still managed to kill it. So much respect for her, because I definitely can't do that. Middies, we've got Lil, who's our captain, who's just absolutely amazing. She plays a captain's game every week, always manages to lead us from the front, and I do not know how she manages to run out a full game in centre, because that's just wow, definitely wow. Irene is our other centre court. So she came back to netball this year after a bit of a break. So she was, considering how much time she had off, I could not believe how quickly she bounced back into like the swing of such a high level team, and her ability to hit the circle edge and release feeds is just like incredible. You know, she's got so much confidence and just lets it go. And then our shooters always manage to catch it and make her look really good. All right, into my shooters. So our shooters are like our artistic little area, creative group. So we've got Tilly, who does not miss, quite frankly. She just incredible. Like the amount of times I've watched her take a shot and thought, oh no, like pass it out, you got to get closer, and it just all net, doesn't phase her. But she also owns her own jewelry business, so she's just always showing us photos of these things she's made, and it's just incredible how she manages to balance netball and her own business. Like, it's amazing. Then on the other end of the creative sort of spectrum, we've got Amelia, who is an artist. So she's just, wow. Like, I've seen some of her artworks and they are incredible. Like, they literally look like the picture that she's copied them off. So could not speak highly enough of that. And she is exactly the same. Like, she doesn't miss often, and her movement around the circle is just incredible. Like, she always seems to open herself up and provide opportunity for our feeders to pass it into her. We've got Tash, not going to forget about Tash. So me and Tash are always the two on the ground, let's just put it that way. So she is absolutely, you're laughing at me, Will.
Oh, no, yeah, she mentioned it, that's all.
Yeah, so she just goes 110% for absolutely everything. She is the fastest goal attack I've ever played against. She can bend her body in so many different ways to catch anything I throw at her. So she makes me look very good when I throw her a dodgy pass. And like our other two shooters, she doesn't miss often either. So we've got best of both worlds. And then towards the end of our sort of series, we had Riley Bachelor as well, who returned from an ACL injury this season. And Riley is just an absolute gun. She doesn't miss. She is the most lovely person. Yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about Riley. So we've got a pretty amazing team.
Now, of course, Riley was voted as the grand final MVP on the day. I guess tell us, how special was her game on grand final day?
Yeah, look, I really don't think you can put it past her. Like, every time she steps out on court, she is like an amazing presence to have out on court. She's very much like Tash. Like, it doesn't matter what you throw at her, she's going to catch it. So that is obviously really helpful from a defender's point of view, because I don't have a very accurate pass. And she's just so accurate, so doesn't miss often. And she has a very calming sort of presence on court. throughout the season, our team had a little hand gesture. So we would have our 2 thumbs up, which was when things started going wrong, or if we got on a roll, or anytime we just felt like we wanted to sort of center our vibes kind of, and just sort of take a breath and just keep doing us. It would be 2 thumbs up in the air. And Riley was just the absolute queen of that, just getting involved, making sure we were all on the same page and that we were all level-headed, ready to go. So she's, a massive asset to our team. So we were lucky to have her.
Tell us a bit about your amazing premiership coaches.
So our coaches, we had Paula Stewart as our head coach, who is actually a specialist defence coach. So that was really amazing as a defender to have someone with that much defensive knowledge and just different ways of looking at things, I guess. So that was a really great thing to have throughout the season. And I think Paula had a really great understanding of like all of our players' strengths and weaknesses. And, you know, it wasn't like we had a set starting 7 for every game. It was sort of, we would match up like my strengths compared to the goal attack's weaknesses, and we sort of play it like that and work off every single player so that we knew exactly what we had in our skill set to try and outperform the other team. So I just think the commitment and like the time that Paula had put into our team this season was amazing. And I know we would get messages from her at like 3 a.m. or some ridiculous time. It's like, Paula, you need to go to bed, but can't fault her on the commitment. And she's just, amazing leader for our team. Our assistant coach was Hillary, who just bounced off Paula so well. And the 2 of them worked really well together to just make sure that we all, you know, clicked and we worked really well together. And then we had Erin, who was our manager, who pretty much kept us fed and kept us on time and kept us in the right uniform. So we probably didn't make it easy on her, but we would be very much lost without Erin. So, yeah.
Now, tell us a bit about your netball journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it?
So I started netball when I was 6 years old. So I'm 20 now, so I've been playing for a while. I started at Metropolitan Districts Netball Association here in Coorparoo, which is one of our feeder clubs. I honestly don't know why I started. I just got enrolled in netball one day as a 6-year-old, so I guess I have my parents to thank for that, and just sort of kept going. But I definitely didn't have the easiest run to where I am right now. I made my first rep side in 2013. And from 2013 to 2015, I was always in Div 2 or Div 3, so I never made the Div 1 side. I never made any Queensland sport teams. I never made Med East, like any of that stuff, like never really happened for me. And then when I hit 16s, I got put into Division 1 for the very first time, which was a bit exciting. And then from there, I trialled for Tigers. So I did my first season of Tigers when I was 17, and I've stuck with them ever since. So gone the hard way, but stuck with it, and I'm so glad I did. So.
Now, what does it mean to you to be now a Ruby Series Premiership Vice Captain?
Oh, look, it's amazing. Like, especially having that past, like I just said, you know, I never made teams as like a young kid. Like I really stuck with it just because I really enjoyed the sport and for a love of the game rather than I was recognized as like a good player. So I think finally sort of making it to this level of competition, which the level of competition this year was absolutely insane. Like so much respect for all the other teams. It was a really hard competition. So when you get to that level and, you know, we've come out on top and to be one of the 2 leaders of that team, it's just sort of like I said before, it's like a sigh of relief. You know, it's something that I've been working towards for so long, and just the fact that it's finally happened in a year as crazy as 2020, it was a really great feeling.
Similar question, but what does the sport of netball mean to you, and especially being there at the Tigers?
Netball is honestly like a second home. It is pretty much my stress relief, like outlet. So I'm a physio student, so I spend a lot of time at uni and study and all that sort of stuff. And netball is just such a great, it's a way to go, and training goes for an hour and a half, and I just rock up to training and I don't have to think about anything else that's going on. It's something that I can put my whole mind towards for that moment of time. And it's just something that I've really enjoyed, I've never gone to training thinking I don't want to be here. I just absolutely love it. And I think the culture at Tigers really helps with that because, like I said before, we're one huge family. The girls I played with last year and the girls I play with this year are some of my closest friends. And I just absolutely love spending time with them. And I love being a part of the Tigers club. So it's just no downsides for me.
And I guess further to that, do you have any future ambitions in the sport of netball?
I just want to keep playing, to be honest. I'm going on placement next year for my degree, so it's going to be crazy busy with that and trying to fit netball in around that. But I really just want to keep playing. And if I can crack that Sapphire team one day, that would be absolutely incredible. And I would love that opportunity. But I am more than happy at Tigers. So, as long as I get to keep playing with them for as long as I'm able, I'm in a pretty good spot.
Now, I have to ask, I think we figured out what position you played on the court because I think you mentioned it in the position when you mentioned about your players a moment ago. If you had a preferred position where you love to be placed on the court, where would that be?
Maybe a wing attack. So my main position at the moment is goal defense. And I feel like a lot of defenders say shooter, but I can't shoot to save my life. It's really bad. So if we're going to try something different, maybe a wing attack. Well, not so much pressure as the shooters.
Now, what would be your advice to our listeners and viewers in Queensland that should get down there and play the sport of netball?
Just keep at it. It is such an amazing way to make friends, and you will make friends who will stick with you always. I don't ever intend on stopping talking to the girls that I play with, so they are really important to me. It's obviously a great way to stay fit and get involved in sort of a community and a team sport. And, if social isn't your thing and you want to, make it to the high levels, just keep at it. That's what I did and I've made it. So don't let the rejections and the knockbacks sort of keep you down. Just keep going. So keep at it. It's a great sport to get a part of.
Now, let's finish off with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates. Now, of course, one of them, I think Tasha, nominated you about 2 or 3 of these questions I'm going to ask you. So the first one is, who had the most embarrassing moment on the court this season, and what was it?
The only ones I can think of are me.
Yeah, she did nominate you for one of these, yes.
I tried to take out a pole once. So that was really clever. So I think one of the other defenders had put her hand out and I hit my head on her hand and then wrapped myself around the pole. So that was really fun. But yeah, if not me, probably just Tash hitting the deck, honestly. Is that what she said? There you go. Yeah, between the 2 of us, we're always on the floor, so.
Yes, that's exactly the carbon copy what she said. Now, I've got a feeling you also got nominated on this question. Who's the comedian in the team?
Madison Cooley. 100% Cooley, yeah. She's honestly, I don't even understand most of her humor. She just said something and I don't understand why I'm laughing, but she never fails to crack me up. So, yeah, not even a doubt on that one.
Now, I think Tash actually nominated you for that one as well. Do you think you're a comedian yourself? Yeah.
No, I'm not a funny person. Maybe she's thinking people laugh at me because I usually stack it. And a lot of the times I fall over and no one actually touches me. I just drop to the deck. So maybe that was it, but I'm not very funny.
Now, this is social media thing called TikTok. So the question I want to ask you is, who's the best singer and dancer in the team?
So the dancer would have to be the children, so Lynette and Rihanna. So they're the two like biggest into TikTok. And then the only other ones who really do TikTok with them would be Maya and probably Riley. So the youngins in our team, the little ones. And then I don't really know anyone else who sings. Like, I'm sure Tash would have nominated me.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. There it is. But yeah, I'm actually not sure. Not sure. I'll just go with the dancers. I've given you 4 dancers.
Now, I have to ask, why do you think Tash would have nominated you for the best singer?
Because I was in a choir for 5 years, I think. So yeah, that's probably fair. But I ended up giving up singing so that I could keep going with netball. So bloody Tash, throw me under the bus.
I was going to say, you can probably get her back next year, or when you see her training.
I'll probably run into her or something and we'll both hit the deck if I try, so probably not going to end too well. But yeah.
Now we'll finish up with this last 2, Maddie, which is, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
My warm-up. I'm very superstitious about my warm-up. So I don't have anything like I know Tash has a headband, Cooley has a pair of socks. Like, I don't have anything like that, but my warm-up has to be the same. So I have the same partner for all of our throwing stuff, and which is Madison Cooley. So we're 2 defenders and we stick together and we go to the same spot every time to do our passing, and she has to go first and then I go second, and we do the same number every time. And we're very stick to our schedule with our warm up. So that's probably the only thing really. I'm not so crazy otherwise, but yeah.
And I've got to finish up with this one last one. Is there anyone on the team just plainly forgetful?
Probably the children, Rihanna and Lynette. That Tash as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know our girls. We love them all, but yeah, Lynette and Rihanna. I think Rihanna actually turned up to training one day in her school uniform and forgot training stuff. We were like, Rihanna, what are you doing? So yeah, I'm going to stick with that, Lynette and Rihanna.
Well, Maddie, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome to have you on the show. From all of us here at Smash FM, congratulations on obviously winning the Rugby Series Premiership about a month ago now, and hopefully you can make it a 3-peat next year and maybe start a bit of a dynasty down there at the Tigers.
Oh, that's the plan, Will. Thank you so much for having me. It's been absolutely amazing to have a chat.
No worries. And that's Maddie Ryan there, joins there from the Carina Leagues Club Tigers, of course. Ruby Series Netball team. Of course, if you want to get involved down there at the Tigers in 2021, of course, we'll put all the details up on how you can support them throughout the Sapphire/Ruby Series competition when it starts in April next year. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Friday edition.